Hello, this is part 11 of our comparative Bible study where Jesus has just attended the Passover at the beginning of his earthly ministry, and he is now traveling from the southern region of Judea up through the region of Samaria on his way to Galilee. During the last Bible study, we began our discussion on past conflicts between the Samaritan and Jewish people. During this Bible study, we would like to continue that conversation. Overall, this is our 36th New Testament Bible study. During the last Bible study, we discussed how Jesus had stopped in the land of Samaria during his journey, and a woman of Samaria had come up to the well where Jesus was sitting, and Jesus asked her, "Give me to drink." Jumping ahead to verse 9. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? Let's break here for just a brief moment. During the last Bible study, I had said that this last part of verse 9 was stated by the woman of Samaria, but it may be part of the narration of the Gospel of John. My understanding is that the Greek, at least back when the Gospel of John was written, did not have quotation marks. And the King James Bible also does not use quotation marks, but a lot of newer Bible translations have inserted quotation marks into their translation. I've noticed a number of other Bible translations ending the woman of Samaria's quote at this question mark here, and they've either have this last part in parentheses where it says, "For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans," or just listed outside the quotation marks. If the phrase, "For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans," is actually part of the narration, I think it would actually make it even a stronger statement than if the woman of Samaria had stated it. Either way, there appears to be plenty of evidence in the Bible that the Jews had hard feelings towards the Samaritans, or there was bad blood between these two groups. For example, during the last Bible study, we discussed how the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel had split away from the southern kingdom of the Jews, or the kingdom of Judah. If you were unaware that the kingdom of Israel was actually divided into two kingdoms, and those two kingdoms had wars between each other, I also did not know this until I read the Bible for the first time. I think it may have been mentioned to me, or I may have heard bits and pieces of it, but I just really didn't put all that together. I think I may have just assumed that the children of Israel, after they were brought out of Egypt with Moses and then taken into the promised land with Joshua, had just remained there as one nation until the Lord Jesus came. Other parts of the Bible tend to be focused on more. That being said, the next part of the two kingdoms of Israel falling and being taken captive into foreign lands was especially not well known to me. For example, at the end of the last Bible study, we discussed how eventually God would have the country of Assyria to conquer the northern kingdom of Israel, and those Israelites would be carried away to dwell in the land of Assyria, and peoples from other countries would be brought in to inhabit their land. For example, concerning the northern kingdom of Israel, and their first king Jeroboam, we read in 2 Kings chapter 17 that, "For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Setharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof." This apparent second group of Samaritans, people from other countries who were moved in after the natural-born Israelites were removed to Assyria, is where a lot of people, to me, seem to start the discussion about the Samaritans during Jesus' day. As discussed during the last Bible study, I personally like to go back further and discuss the conflicts between the two kingdoms because I think that they're still relevant. For example, when the king of Assyria had brought in these people from other nations, this second group of Samaritans, they had trouble when they came in the land. The Lord sent lions among them, and the king of Assyria commanded that they bring one of the priests that was taken from Samaria and send him back to these peoples and teach them the ways of the northern kingdom, basically. I'd like to talk more about this in a future Bible study, but the northern kingdom had a perverted form of the Jewish religion, or the religion that they were supposed to practice in Israel. In addition to this apparent second group of Samaritans from foreign lands who were taught in the ways of the first group of Samaritans, the natural born Israelites, a couple of friends of mine helped me out with regard to a remnant of Israel. Could it be that a remnant from the original 10 tribes of Israel in the northern kingdom, maybe a remnant of them were left behind, possibly maybe even being refugees in even the kingdom of Judah? For example, in 2 Chronicles 34, when King Josiah was king of the southern kingdom of Judah, several decades after the fall of the northern kingdom of Israel, it speaks of gathering money of the hand of Manasseh and Ephraim and all the remnant of Israel. Manasseh and Ephraim being mentioned here, these tribes were descendants of Joseph and occupied much of the land of Samaria. Also, it speaks here of the remnant of Israel, speaking apparently of the 10 tribes that were taken away. So it appears that the first group of Samaritans, the natural born Israelites, still may have influence in that region. For the remainder of this Bible study, though, I would like to focus on this apparent second group of Samaritans who inherited the land from other countries. Unfortunately, several decades after the northern kingdom of Israel would fall to the Assyrians, God would have to take away the southern kingdom of Judah also by the hand of the Babylonians. So the people from the southern kingdom of Judah, the Jews, would be in captivity in the land of Babylon under the hand of the Babylonians, the Medes and Persians for 70 years. Then God would stir up Cyrus, king of Persia, who would send them back to their own land to rebuild the temple. And when they came back into the land, there would be further disputes with this second group of Samaritans. For example, in Ezra chapter 4, we read, "Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers, and said unto them, Let us build with you, for we seek your God, as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus the king of Persia hath commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah, and troubled them in building, and hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose." So it appears here that the Jews shut down the Samaritans, and the Samaritans in kind started causing them problems with these counselors. For example, the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Asnapper brought over and set in the cities of Samaria, and others sent a letter against Jerusalem. As a result, in the days of Artaxerxes the king, the Jews were shut down from working on the temple. But God would get things moving again, and the temple would be completed. Later, by the mercy of God, a man named Nehemiah would go back and try to build a wall around Jerusalem. But the Jews would have difficulties there also. A man named Sanballat, with his brethren and the army of Samaria, they would try to frustrate their purpose there also. But God would bless them with completing the wall and repopulating the land. So this is an example of continued conflicts between the Jews and the Samaritans. Thank you for your time. Lord willing, we might have another Bible study in the future.